This video
Hey,
turned out to be like 20 minutes
here.
long, so I've
Another
decided
pretty
to go ahead and
spring day on
publish
the
it
North
now.
Fork. There's the Camel Rock.
An old professor of mine said the mind can only absorb what the rear end can endure.
It's a pretty day.
So
it's
here we go.
51 degrees out
Have fun.
here. Day before yesterday it was like 83, so I don't know. I don't like this. So anyway, we're gonna go inside and close the doors. I got 2,000 watts of light in here, so it's not gonna be bad here. Welcome back to Project Chair. We are about at the end of the repair phase on this chair. I did a few little OCD repairs while you guys weren't looking. I fixed that little piece on this bottom of the arm support, while you guys weren't looking. I did a little repair here. Let's turn this up. There we are. This board here had a crack in it. It was a little bit loose. Started bothering me. So I drilled and countersunk a hole and put a screw in there, clamped it, and now it's all tight. What we want to look at, what I am so proud of, and I'm just going to start with the bottom of it here, is the repair on that bad brake that you have been seeing. Now just let me turn this around here because I am so pleased with this. This turned out really well. There is that bad brake. Do you remember this piece here? This was the piece that had blown out, had to be clamped down, and that, there's just no crack there at all that you can feel. This, I spent more than 2 hours sanding this last night, and I couldn't ask for it to have turned out better. Now our problem, you can see where I accidentally started sanding the wood, and that's what we're down to now, sanding. And I'm not going to be videoing the sanding because that's boring. It's boring to do, definitely going to be boring to watch. But I had seen a few videos. I've been studying refinishing now. I've done this before. I did a rocking chair a while back that maybe I'll try to share with you before this series is over. I was gonna just kind of urethane it and leave the natural wood, but now we got this patch. So I'm gonna have to darken the chair. The patch is gonna stand out like a sore thumb, but I think if the rest of the wood's darker, and I don't know, I just don't know how this is gonna turn out. It is what it is. It's so much better now than it was when we started this video that, yeah, that's just something I'm going to have to consider. If anybody has any suggestions, that's welcome. Leave a comment down below. So anyway, Project Chair, the chair part is completed. That crack there, I mean, that's going to stay. But all this is nice and level. This little board here was raised up. First I thought, well, I'm gonna sand it off, and then looking it over, there was I found debris. I mean, I took a flashlight and looked down in there, and you could see debris inside there. So I took the screw out and was able to get a putty knife in there and scraped all that debris out. You can still see a slight little crack, but I'm not worried about that. And then I clamped it down and retightened the screw. I believe that'll be okay. If it gives me trouble, I have other plans. So there we go. So the repair part of this is over, like I said. The next part is sanding. So the only repair left is the chair legs. And I'm going to put you up on a holder and swap these pieces out, and we'll make plans for the next phase. This holder, somebody needs to invent something, and I may work on it, that something like a little pair of tongs that you would squeeze and spread these open. Because this is a pain in the neck. I always turn the phone off or do something stupid when I'm trying to mount it. That didn't work, but I'm going to work on that too. There may be something available, I don't know. So hang tight and we'll switch these pieces out. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, that little curvature in there, when I was putting the putty in, one of the viewers suggested to use a piece of saran wrap, which I would go with something a little heavier, like cut a baggie open and lay the baggie over the putty and then take a rolling pin and smooth that out. That was a great idea. Of course, the job was already done by then, but I did kind of play on that when I was sanding it. Let me zoom in here just a little bit. All right, and I'll kind of show you what I did. When I was sanding it, I've had this sanding block for years. There you go. I put the sandpaper on the handle, on the curve, and I was able to just kind of rock back and forth like that. I don't know, it made it a lot easier. I thought it was good. I'm already tired of sanding, folks, but anyway, hang tight. And I'll swap these out real quick. It feels good to be able to pick that chair up and not worry about it falling apart. Okay. Now, we'll talk about these legs a little bit. All right. We'll get into this a little bit here. I might have that zoomed in too much. Now, that's better. Right there. Right there. Okay. Okay, the first thing, as far as the repair, casters. It's really all that's left of the repair is casters. But let's take the phone back off the holder. I'm going to fix that. You see how bad a shape these feet are in. That's got a rag stuffed in it. That one's all worn out. There's another one with a rag stuffed in it. I think this one's got a rag stuffed in it too, but the holes, you know, the reason they stuffed those rags in there was to try to give something to casters to hold on to. These are going to have to be drilled out and then a dowel driven and glued in and then re-drilled so that the little pieces that hold the casters have something to bite into. These legs are nice and solid. So I'm not at all concerned about, well, I am concerned about doing it. I'm nervous about doing it, but it has to be done. So that will be later this week, because I haven't even ordered the casters yet. And I see these screws here, and I need to try to tighten them up a little bit. I hope I can. If I can't, certainly not going to break these screws. So anyway, here we go. Now, I learned a little bit about how this thing works, this hub liner, and it won't come out. I don't think. I haven't tried very hard, but you notice this screw here. It's mounted on the hub liner. And what that screw does, let me get the other piece here and lay it down here, or set it up here. Here's the piece that fits down in there, all right? So that screw, the rod, is going to go down in the hole. And you see this piece right here? It's like a washer with a lip on it, a big, all right? That screw goes in this indentation, and it keeps this assembly from going up and down the rod. It'll make a couple of turns, but it won't. Once it goes so far, it can't move any further because of that screw sticking out there. All right. You know, that doesn't seem like such a big deal to me, but the manufacturers made it. So maybe it is. I don't know. But anyway, on the new piece that we were so excited to see yesterday, you notice the screw is attached to the bell. Now, when you screw the bell up and down, see how it's moving the bell toward the rest of the assembly. All right. And the screw goes in. This piece here on the chair that this is designed to fit is actually mounted here. So I would have to have something made and almost welded to the top of this. But I don't see the problem. I mean, I'm not going to use this chair enough to make that an issue. I really don't think. So anyway, I suppose I could get a longer screw and just run it up against this shaft. And that would keep it from turning. But then you couldn't swivel the chair. So I don't know. I don't think I'm really going to worry about it. What I'll probably end up doing, just to make sure everything fits good, is take a grinder and cut this piece off. And I'm not worried about the up and down. I'm really not. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to set this chair back up and start sanding. And I'm not going to video that. I will check in periodically through the week and just let you see what progress is going on, but we're not going to waste a lot of your time making you watch me sand. In the meantime, I'm thinking, now there's a device I could drill a tiny hole here, and have this little tool where I could just reach over here and squeeze and spread those things apart. So that, I don't know. I may have to buy another one so that in case if I ruin this one, I still have a holder. But once this chair's halfway taken care of, we're going to work on that. Anyway, This is Tom signing off for now. I'm going to add more to this video. We'll probably finish the project on this one video, although I've run my mouth for 15 minutes here, so maybe, I don't know. We'll decide. Anyway, Tom signing off. Project Chair Part 4. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. 3 hours later, I tell you what, I am worn out. This wood is hard. It's got to be oak. And if you see these grain patterns in this one board, well, actually both those boards, that was described to me as quarter sawn, or back in the old days when they had these huge logs, they'd saw them in quarters. And it makes a different kind of grain. I'm no expert on lumber or timber or anything, but here, let's get out of the light. This top or back, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe that was, let me tip this thing up a little bit so we can get the back of it in the light. I'm not sure this wasn't cut out of one solid block of wood rather than being, this is hard to do one-handed, I'm telling you. Okay. Rather than being bent, I don't know how you could bend oak wood that hard. There's some pretty grain in that. See there, the grain is starting to separate from the board right there. I hate to use more of that stuff, but I might. I'll just have to think about that, because every time I use that stuff, then I'm worried about mashing things up. But just for fun, I want to, my good buddy Frank that's no longer with us, he made some pretty furniture. He'd all been into this project, but let's get this thing a little bit closer to the light. And he had a trick where he'd take a wet rag, he'd spit. I'm just gonna pour some water. Isn't that pretty? Look at the grain in that. That's going to be pretty. It's going to have to be pretty dark to hide that patch, but you can see the difference in the wet with the way it brings that grain out. Where's the wet spot on the rag? I've lost. There we are. Lost my wet spot. All right. Look at this. Look at this pattern in this. Let's get a little more water on here. A little bit of water ain't gonna hurt it. It'll dry before I get back to the house. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? Let's just, man, if you, if they made a stain called water and it wasn't for that patch, look at that. But that's what I'm learning, that those marks in the grain are from quarter sawing these logs. So anyway, hey, I am worn out and I need more sandpaper. Lots more sandpaper. This is going to take a long time, folks. It's hard to tell how long I'm going to be sanding this. Let's see what we can make this seat look like real quick. Oh, look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? I mean to tell you. I mean, this is going to be worth doing. And it's going to be worth doing right. So, yeah, that's pretty. That's really pretty. Okay, I'm gone for now. There's the back of it starting to dry a little bit. Beautiful. I'm stoked. I mean, I don't mind doing the work. At my age, I got nothing else to do. So we'll keep this video running. This will probably be the last. I don't know, maybe not. Probably not. We'll get it to a certain point and publish it. Okay. You all have a good evening. Good night. Tom signing out.